Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me on the video today. I always appreciate that. And guys, today I want to get into the topic about this illusion that we have good fishing here in the United States for bass, because you hear all these times about all these 20-pound bags being caught, and I want to speak to the point of how this is not real. This is an illusion that is occurring, and by having this way of thinking and this sort of like this artificial sense of security, it's actually endangering the future sustainability of our fisheries. So we're going to get into that in today's video, because I think it's really important. It's like part of the responsibility of being a bass fisherman is that you can't just hog it up all for yourself. You can't just focus on you getting to be a better bass fisherman and ignore the bigger picture, because we have a responsibility. It's like every angler out there has a responsibility to leave this world and this planet and our fisheries better than they found it, and we are doing a pathetic job right now with that, and I want to call that out a little bit in today's video. Also, guys, quick reminder, Tackle Warehouse has got a 12 days of Christmas sale going on right now. If you guys are looking for some gifts or to get stocked up for next year, not a better time. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys want to use that link and bookmark it for your tackle purchases. It's a good way to support intuitive angling, and big thank you from me and my family for everybody that's been doing that. Okay, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but scientists estimate that there's 75 to 90% of the fisheries on a global scale are either overexploited, overfished, or depleted. 75 to 90% of them, which should shock anybody. And we've seen that on the oceans especially, but it's also going on our lakes as well, but you don't see it to that extent. Now, what I want to talk about today is this illusion that our fishing is okay here in the country, and I'm going to point out some examples to sort of counter that. What you have seen a lot over the past 5 years with the advent of technology, electronic technology, is you've seen an upsurge in 20-pound and bigger bags of fish in tournaments. It's like you see more than ever. You see more big bags of fish than ever in tournaments. Back 30 years ago, guys, a 20-pound bag was special, and now it's not really that special. And this is an illusion. People see this and they think that fishing is great, fishing is awesome, the fisheries managers are Einsteins. That's not the case. This uptick and the upswing in these bigger bags of fish being caught are completely accredited due to forward-facing sonar and electronic technology and other type of technological advancements in the sport. Now, I'm not saying that, it's like the lakes are dead, but what I'm saying is these fish that the anglers are targeting right now, where they're catching these 20-pound bags, they've always been there, and even in bigger numbers. But what you have seen now is we've never had the capability of exploiting those fish. Same with the way all the ocean trawlers exploit, the tuna and, swordfish and all that type of stuff. We have technology on a global scale now that is exploiting our fisheries, making it seem like they're still catching fish, but in reality, they're better at catching the fewer numbers of fish that are left. Now, let me give you guys a perfect example of what I'm talking about. There's a lake here in Missouri called Stockton Lake, and it used to be, in my opinion, the best lake in the country. Now, this is just a microcosm of what I'm talking about. Your lakes are the same way as this, but anyway, Stockton. It's about a 25,000 acre lake. It's a large lake, and I fished it ever since the late 1970s. And starting from about probably 1985 to about 2000 and probably about 2010, it's like I fished up there a lot in the wintertime, November, December, January. And it was one of those lakes that on the average, I could go up there in November, December, and January on about any day of the week, and I could catch anywhere between 40 to 100 bass a day. On average, it's like never less than 40. I had multiple 100 fish days. Very, very common to catch 50 bass a day, as with my buddies who fished with me up there did. They can attest to this. Now, guys, you go up there now, the same, same deal that we did for 30 years. If you catch, 8 or 10 fish in a day, you've had a pretty decent day. Back then, between 85 and 2010, out of those, say if you caught 50 fish a day, 25 of them would be over the 15-inch minimum size limit. And now you might catch 1 or 2. If you catch 8 or 10, you might catch 1 or 2 over 15 inches. Now, here's what I'm saying with this. I've got one area of the lake up there that for, probably, like I said, 20 years, that you can fish pretty much everything in a day. And it's like these fish use the same, they use the same structures and the same areas year after year after year. Those fish are gone, guys. Those fish do not live there like they did before. And it's because of overfishing. The fisheries have been depleted. And the people that are still catching the fish are the ones that are using the live scope and the cheater box and, the electronic technology, because that's all that's left. There's nothing else left out there. And so you have these weights that continue to come in tournaments, but those weights are not coming through traditional bass fishing. It's like you can't pick up a traditional bass fishing lure like a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, a jig, a crankbait, a topwater lure, and catch those fish. You're out there weenie worming around with a drop shot or throwing a forward-facing sonar minnow on fish that you're seeing offshore. And those fish they've been out there in bigger numbers. They've always been out there. But people have gotten so good with this technology that they're able to catch the fewer fish that are out there. Now, here's what I'm talking about with the illusion of it. On a macrocosm, all over the country, this is going on because you see people talking all the time. It's like, Randy, you're full of it. You don't know what you're talking about. There was a 30-pound bag caught here, a 25-pound bag caught here. Fisheries are better than they've ever been. They're not better than they've ever been. The only reason they're catching them is because of that technology. You take that technology away from us. You take those same dudes out there that are catching 30-pound bags on Lake Guntersville or wherever they're going, and you put a 2D sonar on there, you put a flasher on there, and then show me what you're going to catch. Show me what you're going to catch when you actually have to go out and find fish, where you actually have to go out to fish to find fish. What's ever happened to that, guys? What's happened to fishing to find fish? Nobody does that anymore. We have transcended the sport from fishing to find fish to looking at your electronic screens to find fish. It's like that part of fishing has been completely taken out of it. So in essence, you've got a large segment of the bass fishing population that have their head in the sand on this. They live in an information bubble. They live in a silo of information, and they are so tied in to the technology aspect of it and the fact that the catches are still being pumped out there, that they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're not looking at, if you took that technology away from them and forced them to fish in the traditional sense where they would not catch anything, and then you start waking up. Now, here's a big indication of that. Let's go to some typical tournament that they have on whatever level, and you'll see 10 guys whack them. They catch these big bags from the cheater box. The true indication of how healthy a fishery is to go down and look at the bottom 25%. Because if you have a 200 angler tournament on whatever lake across the country, and you see these big weights and it takes however much weight to make the top 20, I don't care about that. That's irrelevant to me, because most of those fish were caught illegitimately through forward-facing sonar. I want to know what was caught the bottom 30 or 40 places, because in tournaments, you've got whatever tournament it is you're in, the tournament anglers are above average in skill level from the average bass angler in this country. So if you take an above average skilled angler and you look at the weight they caught for the bottom 25%, and then you try to equate that and relate that to what an average bass angler or a beginning bass angler can catch, that gives you the true metric of how healthy a fishery is. And on top of that, how they caught their fish. You take the metric of the people in any tournament out there that did not use forward-facing sonar and finished at the bottom of the list, that gives you the state and the true reading on the health of the fishery. It's not the top level, because all those fish out there, all these 20-pound plus bags you see guys catch them that have 3-4 screens up on the front of their boat, like I said, those fish have always been out there. They just haven't been able to target them like they do now because they did not have the technology. So fisheries, the bank fish have been depleted for the most part. The only thing that's left is the things off the bank there. And the problem you have is when you have these fisheries managers and conservation departments that do these creel studies and all that type of stuff, and they survey the anglers, they cannot take information from anglers that use forward-facing sonar, because that creates this fake illusion that fishing is okay. They should go out there and they should take the sampling of how many fish those anglers caught from the non-forward-facing sonar segment of the bass fishing population, because that gives you a true reading on the health of a fishery. So anyway, guys, it's like, man, I just it's almost like this. We're in this period of this normalization of technology that you have got to resist it, because it's like a cancer that's slowly eating away at somebody that is in denial that it's happening. That's exactly what we're seeing right now, because so many people in the sport of bass fishing, they don't have the vision to look into the future very far. They're only concerned about here and now and what they can catch and how many fish they can catch. Same with like the crappie anglers across the country. It's like you go up to that same lake at Stockton Lake, guys, and there's not a crappie fisherman up there that doesn't have a freaking live scope on a 3-foot pole in front of their boat. And it's just we've created this normalization in the most destructive piece of technology and the most destructive potential element this sport has ever seen before. And a lot of people say to me out there, it's like, Randy, you beat this horse in the ground. We're tired of hearing that. We want to see your fishing tips. You made your point. It's like, it's not going to stop, guys. I'm not going to stop until it's banned or it's illegal. I'm not just going to like say something about it once in a while and then just let it go haywire and never mention it again. So get used to it. If you guys don't like to hear it, you probably got to tune into a different channel, because I'm going to still do my 75% fishing tips to help you guys get a better angler. But I'm also going to be the 25% that just constantly brings up this topic that, we can't ever just like normalize like a lot of people are trying to do. So anyway, guys, hope you all are well. Let me know what you guys think about it. We'll talk later.